I'm Haley Taylor, and you're listening to The Rough Draft Diaries. I'm really excited to start today's conversation, but I'm trying not to start the episode in the same exact way we started our previous episode, because we're still in Ann Arbor, we're still talking to musicians, but just like last time, this conversation might be a little different than what you're expecting.
My name is Gabriel Bolkosky. I'm a violinist and the founder and director of Phoenix Fest Chamber Music Festival and Jazz School.
Gabe was nominated for the show specifically in connection with the Phoenix Ensemble, which is what we're going to be talking about today. This ensemble was created in 1998, specifically performing chamber music. But when the original director left and Gabe took over, he wanted the ensemble to do more than just performing.
I decided to downsize the organization and try to create a festival that came from a different perspective, a perspective that music is a deep enough art form that anyone, any age, any level, and any level of commitment can touch that music and have a meaningful experience if the environment is right.
And Gabe has tried to create that environment through two flagship events. One is a weekend-long chamber music festival, and the other is a week-long chamber music curriculum with private lessons and electives. Now, these courses are set up in a very specific way. Gabe said it was really a reaction to the musical education he received from the age of 3 to 25.
What I've come to understand it as now is excellence-based teaching, I think, especially when it's implemented that early, say 3.5, 4 years old, toddler's life, is the planting of seeds of serious mental illness. A toddler does not understand the concept of excellence. When they are taught so early on, especially by adults, that you can either do something or you're wrong. If you're corrected, the child doesn't feel like, oh, I just did this and now I'm going to make it a little better. Instead, they feel like, I have not been recognized that I did something. And it creates a real feeling of shame, and particularly a feeling of shame at not being able to do something well. That has implications in every stage following as they get older. Instead of finding pleasure in doing things, they find shame in doing things. And I think that by very well-meaning adults, that was planted in me at an early age. And I think it's planted in most of my colleagues at an early age, and none of us realize what they can do.
So Gabe has been trying to shift his teaching style over the past 20 years with the Phoenix Fest, shifting it from excellence-based teaching to development-based teaching, hoping to create happier students where their motivation comes from joy and love and not fear and shame.
What I discovered at Phoenix Fest was instead of placing people based on excellence, we place them based on age. We place them based on friendship. So you might have two friends who really want to play together, one of whom's been playing for 5 years and the other one's been playing for 5 months. We still put them together and found a way for them to be able to make music together. And initially, we got a lot of pushback particularly from parents who felt uncomfortable that their kid had worked so hard and they were in a group with somebody who was, quote unquote, holding them back. But what I have noticed in the situations that have worked is that it literally gives an opportunity for that more advanced person, more advanced child to experience compassion for another kid and to want to help them to get to understand. And for the child or the adult in this case, but for the person who's having trouble, when they feel people around them that they know are more skilled, who are willing to wait for them, that creates trust and friendship. And suddenly I realized that music education there's room to have it be about virtually everything except excellence. That excellence can really be something that's talked about maybe in late teenage years or even waiting until closer to adulthood in the early 20s. And I don't think a lot of music education programs necessarily have that as their goal.
Having this conversation reminded me of my music lessons. I took piano lessons for years as a kid. I was not very studious and probably didn't perform as well as I should, but my mom was a saint. She paid for years and years of these lessons, probably knowing I wasn't applying myself. But she could see that I loved doing it, so she never scolded me. I still play today, just for myself, not for anybody else, and what a joy that is, to be able to play because Your mom gave you that opportunity, not to become a concert pianist or a music scholar, but just to play. And I think that's what Gabe wants for his students.
And I just really want them to feel happiness when they look at their instrument, which sounds so simple, but there are so many violins under the bed collecting dust. And most of the time it's because the adult says to me, I quit because I didn't have the aptitude. And that just really breaks my heart. It does feel like a small drop in a large ocean, but I think there are a lot of people out there who agree with me. And I feel like they don't agree because they feel insecure as perhaps as teachers or even just people who are playing for their own pleasure. They feel embarrassed to state their opinion even because they feel they can't play as well as the best players in the world or whatever. I really do hope that in my own way, with the few people I see, that I'll be able to have some good effect on the world.
I'm Haley Taylor, and thanks for listening to this episode of the Rough Draft Diaries.